Hello, my name's Janet Few. I'm a founder member of the Society for One Place Studies and I tutor 2 online One Place courses for Pharos teaching and tutoring. I'm the author of 2 One Place books, 10 Steps to a One Place Study and Putting Your Ancestors in Their Place. We're hoping there'll be a new edition of that available next year. I have 3 One Place studies in Devon, 2 rural parishes and a fishing village, and I'm also studying a tiny remote Northumbrian parish. Flora, fauna and families. I hope that this short session will encourage you to take a rather different look at your place. It's about what makes a place of human habitation rather than unpopulated countryside. One Place studies are about people and places. We study the inhabited place and perhaps the gaps in between. But why are those people there? What made the original settlers decide to set up home in this place rather than that place? What was there about our places that turned them from an uninhabited landscape to a settlement? Imagine early potential settlers viewing the possibilities of your place as somewhere to begin to create a community. What did they need? Relatively accessible building materials in order to create shelters. Food, both for themselves but also for livestock. Water, safety, fuel, and to a lesser extent accessibility, the ability to come and go. Strip back the layers and look at the bare bones of your place, before the people, before the families, and before the built heritage. Think about the underlying geology. Early settlement means farmers. The nature of the soil is key to what might or might not grow well. If your place is large, you may have a variety of soil and rock types, creating different environments within your place. My 3 Devon places are built on Carboniferous sandstone and shale. The soil is loamy, suitable for growing cereals or root crops. What building materials might have been available? Remembering that building materials are often very difficult to transport. Is there local stone or wood? Many places are now deforested compared to the past. They may well have been a much better supply of wood when settlers first came to your place. In Devon we have mud, so early shelters may well have been built from cob, a mixture of soil, rubble and animal manure, a building material still in use in the 19th century. Go further west into Cornwall, you'll find a proliferation of granite. Go to Norfolk, you'll find flints, all influencing likely building choices. In Thocklington, my Northumbrian place, maps show that the parish included small areas of woodland. The size and composition of these woods has changed over time, but it's likely that early settlers would have found native trees to use as fuel and building materials. It's impossible to tell how densely wooded the area might have been prior to human occupation. Fresh water is essential to drink, so where are the rivers, lakes, ponds, streams and springs? Water is needed to irrigate crops and for livestock to drink. Rivers silt up and lakes can be man-made, so remember to look at the historic availability of water. Water is also a key method of transportation, and of course this can be salt water, so coasts are relevant here. My inland Northumbrian parish is fed by the River Wansbeck, which rises on the boundary that the parish shares with Corsonside, and there are several small burns threading their way through the parish. The Wansbeck flows eastward from Thocklington through the market town of Morpeth and out to the North Sea. It's now only navigable for a short distance west of Morpeth, but historically it might have provided a routeway from Thocklington to Morpeth and the coast. In the north of the parish, Curtis Burn feeds the freshwater Sweethope Lochs. These are partly natural, although they have been extended by man's intervention. Place names also suggest that there would have been plenty of fresh water for early inhabitants. Nuts Well, Longbank Well, Camp Well, and Red Well, for example. How about the climate? Is this suitable for growing crops? Would early settlers have been likely to have had drought or floods to contend with, or extremes of temperature? Remember, weather patterns change over the centuries, so today's weather in your place might not be what it experienced in the past. The General View of Agriculture for Northumberland, written in 1813, tells me that Thocklington was an area of moorland which was subject to extreme weather, with snow for several months of the year on the high ground, and easterly winds leading to drought. Terrain is also important for building and farming potential. It's difficult to do either on very steep ground. My fishing village is situated in a steep, narrow valley, making cultivation difficult and leaving very little capacity for expansion. What about defence? Here, a steep slope might be an advantage. How could those living at the site of your place have protected themselves from enemies? You need to be able to spot potential intruders before they get too close. You can either intimidate enemies by looking impressive and impenetrable, or be in a situation such as a hollow that might be difficult to spot. Is your place on a hill or a promontory, perhaps on a bend in the river? How easily could it have been defended? Accessibility is a double-edged sword, as you need to be able to come and go, but you don't want to make life too easy for potential invaders. What would your place have provided in terms of food? Think about native animals and birds that might have been hunted. Don't forget the aquatic environment. Watercourses and the sea are sources of food too, and it's likely that freshwater fish would be eaten in significant quantities. Again, remember that a number of wild animals of the past are now extinct, or at least do not survive in our places in the way that they might have in earlier centuries. Don't forget that many insects are edible. Equally, there'll be wild animals in your place now that are not native to the area, and so should not be counted. Plants, bushes and trees are all potential food sources for humans and/or animals. What native plants and trees might have grown wild in your place in centuries gone by? If your place is coastal, remember to include things like seaweed. Sometimes there are clues in hamlet or field names. Native wildlife in Thockerington includes red squirrels, rabbits, hares, badgers, deer, predominantly red deer, and wildcats. Historically, wild boar and wolves would have roamed this area. Now other introduced species are found as well. These animals would have been a source of food and fur. Birds such as grouse would have added to the food supply. The names of places, landmarks and geographical features indicate what might have been found in the way of flora and fauna. Sweethope, one of Thockerington's townships, means sweet pasture, suggesting that here at least land was favourable for grazing. Berry Hills and Cranberry Moss give evidence for the presence of cranberries. Drake's Pool is a spring-fed pond notable for ducks. Hookie Hill was where a herb famous for curing coughs was found, the herb's unspecified, perhaps marshmallow or thyme. In Devon I find the self-explanatory Cherry Vale, a name dating back centuries. Devoid of humans, your empty place had more to offer. What about the raw materials? This goes beyond building materials. What other resources could settlers use? Was there coal, iron, or other minerals that could be exploited? Salt was very valuable, so is there a salt pan nearby? What is available to the inhabitants for fuel? In the absence of much wood or any coal, is there peat or furze? Maps provide me with several clues about the resources that might have been exploited in Thockerington. In this respect, too, place names can offer suggestions. Like much of Northumberland, there are coal seams in Thockerington parish. These were never developed beyond open cast mining, perhaps due to the quality of the seams, or maybe because Thockerington's remote location made transporting mined coal impractical. Lead mines are also marked on maps, as are clay pits. Presumably the latter supplied the raw materials for the tile works that are also shown. In addition, there's a quarry in the parish. These raw materials might well have been an incentive for settlement. I hope you've enjoyed thinking about your naked place, the place before the humans came. Now have fun adding people to the place, hopefully with a better understanding of why they're there. Thank you very much for listening to this session. I do hope that you enjoy the remainder of the event.